playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Simple thought, hard to actually execute. Not only because the game isn't really simple, but also because of the question that is, how are we going to play it? Through what medium? Now, of course, the simple answer is, well, it's a card game, grab your deck, let's meet up, and let's play. But of course, that is actually rarely a possibility because of two things. Both are in that statement, having a deck and meeting up. So, we turned to online play. Remote duels were a thing. They solved the meeting up part, but still required owning a deck and having a complicated setup to actually play properly. Then came the simulators. You know, Dueling Book, etc. They seemed to solve every problem. Accessibility and availability. You could play whenever and wherever with whatever deck, and we thought it would peak with the official game Master Duel, which made everything super polished and smooth with animations, more intuitive controls, easier to pick up gameplay, high clicky glowy button, and oh, thanks for reminding me to add Cartesia back to my hand. But other than the format being completely different from the one we actually play in the TCG, Master Duel and simulators in general lack something the TCG and playing with your friends in the playground have. That human element. I went to locals earlier this week, and coming from almost 2 years of Master Duel, there was something completely different about how I felt I played the game. Sure, there was no Max C and the bandlist was completely different, but that wasn't it. Actually physically doing the actions done on Master Duel or simulators and explaining the plays to the opponent and having live reactions and repeatedly apologizing for puppet locking your opponent in an unstoppable fashion is something that you can absolutely never get out of a simulator. Your opponent on simulators feels like just another opponent. You don't really think of them as a person on the spot, but there is someone behind the screen thinking feelings and having thoughts. Sure, you can play on a call with your friends, but you have to admit it's so much better to actually hold cards and move them and seeing your opponent's life leave their eyes when you Nibiru their board. So what am I getting to here? Yes, it's absolutely impossible to recreate real-life interactions with duels online, and if you can afford to, I highly recommend either buying or borrowing a friend's deck and going to locals or having a fun tournament with your friend group because it's the best way to enjoy the game. But we can try to get as close to that experience as possible using the best online medium that tries to mimic reality. Virtual reality. Now I know VR is expensive, but that's less and less the case. You can probably snag a Quest 2 for €200 or less, but that's besides the point because what I'm about to show you doesn't even need a VR headset. In fact, you can use it flat screen while your friend is in VR. As you might know, there's this quite infamous game at this point known as VRChat, which is actually where this little avatar is moving and how I'm doing all this. And VRChat's primary content is user-generated, meaning that people make a lot of shit. Among that are games, chill worlds, beautiful views, etc. But today's topic is not VRChat, but a simulator within it. This is Duel Cafe, a VRChat world made to bring Yu-Gi-Oh! Simulators into VR. It has everything you need to duel in any formats, taking full advantage of VR since you do all the actions you would in real life apart from searching the deck because that would be an absolute pain in VR. It has even ways to import and export decks so you can save your decks and use them on other tables or instances, even giving out your decks to others, and they even give you pre-made decks. Not only is it good for players wanting to practice IRL plays, but also great for creators when you discover how to make use of VRChat's tools like I was talking about, like check out my reaction on stream when I set up cameras that could be seen in a big tournament. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's so cool. Look at that. You can see the board, the life points, player 1, player 2. That's so cool. That is awesome. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I love it. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's so cool. It's so cool. You have the side view with the life points. You can see the life. You can see both players face to face. You can see here, which is the board view. and you can have the interview like one side, one other side. That's so cool. And after testing that, I'm interested in running a fun little tournament here in this world that you guys can join if you're interested. Just let me know in the Discord down below in the Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Now, of course, this isn't the be-all end-all for playing online, but it's definitely how I'm going to be playing with friends and running events in the future because of how much more interactive it is compared to the basic Sims and it being free compared to a competitive TCG deck. I'm looking at you, Snake Eyes. It also allows me to play with friends who don't play Master Duel at all to just hop on, play a brand new deck without having to grind the URCP, or in a way that's more intuitive than a bunch of buttons for the main Sims. To me, it's more of a middle ground between classic Sims and a TCG. More interactive for sure, but will in no way give you reason to stay inside all day instead of going to locals. Hopefully you enjoyed my presentation of a way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That is very underrated, and honestly I think a pretty good one.